660 AM, The Answer. 660 AM, TheAnswer.com.
We return to Ladies Can We Talk with host Debbie Georgatos on 660 AM The Answer.
Hello there and welcome back to Ladies Can We Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in. I believe we have on the line Carly Fiorina. Carly?
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
In this second hour of Ladies Can We Talk, I always have two of my friends on. I call them the leading ladies. We make it a conversation around the table. It's Dorinda and Lori. But I'm going to jump in with my first question because we're so excited to have you. I wanted to share, we did earlier in the show, share your remarks from the Jake Tapper show about who is extreme, whether Hillary Clinton was extreme. They were brilliant, but they were great. But yeah, there was a study, a poll out, very recent poll, talking about the majority of Americans are not comfortable with the moral direction of their country. 2/3 of all women are either somewhat or strongly uncomfortable with the moral direction, even 50% of non-whites. So what do you think about the role of the social issues, especially abortion and marriage, in this coming election cycle?
Well, it's interesting, Debbie. One of the things that I said on that show, and actually said again this morning on Fox News Sunday, this videotape that we're seeing from Planned Parenthood and, the positions that Hillary Clinton takes, this actually isn't about anymore whether a woman thinks she's pro-life or pro-choice. It actually is about the moral character of our nation. I truly believe that. And so it is why so many pro-choice women are horrified by this. I really think as soon as women learn what the position of Democrats really is, Democrats like Hillary Clinton, they're horrified. And we know from the polling data that the majority of women, the majority of young people, the majority of Americans believe, for example, that abortion after 5 months is wrong. So we are winning this argument for life. There's just no question.
I love hearing that. I think that's right. I think Dorinda's going to roll here.
Hi there, Carly.
Hi, Dorinda.
So fantastic to talk to you. I too have seen you many times here in Dallas, and I'm so excited that you speak so strongly and just are unflappable in defending what is right. And I just want to thank you so much for that. But one of the things that I wanted to ask you was, how can a candidate win the moderates and the conservative / Tea Party in a presidential election?
Well, it's interesting. When I ran in California, which obviously is a deep blue state, I, of course, lost that general election, but I ran as a proud pro-life conservative. I've never changed my views. I might learn something new, but I don't change my views. And the reason I start there is because I won more Republican votes, more Democrat votes, and more independent votes than virtually any other Republican running anywhere in the nation. That's how big California is. But it's a demonstration, I think, that a conservative can win with independents and even some Democrats. There's a poll that came out recently that says, for example, 80% of the American people now think we have a professional political class that cares more about its own power and privilege than on getting anything done. Most Americans understand what needs to be done. And as your polling data that you were just sharing with me points out, most Americans are now uncomfortable with the moral direction of the nation. And so I do think that the way the game of politics is played, it seeks to divide. But as I'm out there talking with lots of people, I think the majority of Americans can come together and understand we are spending too much money. The government is getting too big. The small and the powerless are getting crushed while the big and the wealthy get rewarded. And we need to stand up once again for some of the values that have made this nation strong.
We're speaking with GOP presidential candidate Carly Fiorina, who's just, we are going to put links to two of her recent interviews on our Facebook page because they're so good, so strong. And we appreciate her strong voice on behalf of women. And as a woman GOP candidate, we're just thrilled to have you in the race. And I think Lori's going to roll here.
Hi, Carly. This is Lori Medina. So good to talk to you again. Hey, listen, my question is, the GOP talking heads, the GOP wealthy establishment folks, the elite. They're all out there saying that we can't, as conservatives or as Republicans, we can't talk about illegal immigrants at all. We can't refer to them as illegal immigrants. We can't talk about what, some of their activities, illegal activities that they take on while they're here in the country. We can't talk about these things. And if we do, then we won't win the Hispanic vote. First, do you agree with that? And second, if you don't agree with that, how do you propose as Republicans, as conservatives, how do we actually go after and win the Hispanic vote?
Well, first, I don't agree with it.
Excellent.
And I also think that, how long have Republicans in the professional political class, how long have they been talking about immigration and securing the border? I mean, the border's been insecure for 25 years.
Right.
The San Francisco sanctuary city has been there since 1989. And as usual, the political class in Washington, they all stood up, they gave speeches, they passed a law. Guess what? Nothing's really going to change. I think that people understand, Hispanics as well as others in America, understand that a nation that cannot protect its borders cannot protect its sovereignty. I think Hispanics, as well as others, understand that when your legal immigration system has been broken for 25 years, it hurts everybody. If you have an employer verification system that isn't reliable, then you can't hold employers accountable. And I do think we get to a point where we have to say most people with common sense will support the rule of law. Those that won't, we're not going to win their votes. But guess what? We don't need to win every vote. We just need to win more votes on the other guy or gal in the case of Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we have just a couple more minutes here. I just want to wrap up with a question about, there's so much conversation about the damage that has been done to America by President Obama. And so when you are president, Fiorina, what can we undo that he has done? What are your first steps to undo what has been done to our country?
Well, I think first there are a whole set of executive orders and regulations that need to be undone. His executive order on immigration, for example, needs to be rolled back. The incredible onslaught of regulations from the Environmental Protection Agency need to be rolled back. I mean, the EPA isn't elected. These officials aren't accountable to anyone. There wasn't any discussion. I just came out of Iowa, and just as an example, on August 28th, the Environmental Protection Agency will control 96% of the water of Iowa. Really? They're already shutting down our coal industry. They're already in the process of destroying agriculture in the state of California. So all of that has to be rolled back. Those are things that can happen immediately at home. And then, of course, there are much more systemic things that we have to do to begin reducing the size of government, like actually knowing how our money is being spent, going to zero-based budgeting, having some pay-for-performance system for the bureaucracy. On the foreign side, I think we need a real reset where our allies see us differently and our enemies see us differently as well, immediately. And so I would make 2 phone calls on day one from the Oval Office. One would be to my good friend Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, to tell him we will stand with the state of Israel, but that's also a message to every other ally we have. The second, to the Supreme Leader of Iran. He might not take the phone call realistically, but he would get the message. And the message is, New Deal. I don't care what deal Kerry and Obama signed, and I don't care what deal the rest of the world has with you. The deal you have with this president and this nation is, until you open every military and nuclear facility to real, anytime, anywhere inspections, we're going to make it as difficult as possible for you to move money around the global financial system. We can do that unilaterally. We don't need anyone's help to do that. And when we do that, every adversary we have is going to stop and say, well, look at that. Maybe the United States of America is in the leadership business again.
Boy, that would be a wonderful thing. It's just been amazing to watch America's place in the world fall and wither away under this president. And I know, Carly, from other times I've heard you speak, you actually are on speaking terms. You have met with and worked with many of these significant world leaders. And I just think, I know you've talked about Angela Merkel. You've talked about Putin. I love the idea of a strong woman from America speaking up and demanding these, both that our enemies understand that we're watching you and our friends understand we have your back.
Well, exactly right. In fact, tomorrow evening, I have the great honor of giving a major foreign policy address at the Ronald Reagan Library. And I will talk about what we need to do in the immediate term to reestablish American leadership in the world. But I will also talk about our rising adversary in China and what we need to do now so that a threat doesn't become a crisis. Because one of the things that's happened with this president is looming threats, whether they are Russia or ISIS or Iran, looming threats become crises because this president, nor the Secretary of State, by the way, Hillary Clinton, they have not acted in time.
We are speaking with GOP presidential candidate Carly Fiorina. Carly, thank you so much for calling in tonight.
Well, it's my great pleasure to be with all three of you ladies.
Thank you. It was awesome. It was fantastic.
And your website is, you want to quick tell it?
Yes, CarlyForPresident.com.
It's a great website. Okay, thank you so much for speaking with Carly Fiorina. And this is Ladies Can We Talk with Debbie Georgatos, Lori Medina, Dorinda Randall on 660 AM The Answer. We're going to zip off to our break and come back after the break for some very exciting, interesting news about the country of Iran. Thank you, Carly Fiorina, for calling in.
Thanks so much.